Gaming has evolved in extraordinary ways over the past few decades. What began as simple cartridges and discs for home consoles has transformed into a multi-billion-dollar industry, offering cutting-edge experiences that connect millions of players worldwide. With this evolution, digital games have emerged as a cornerstone of modern gaming, providing unmatched convenience. But while digital games offer incredible benefits like instant access, ease of storage, and no need to worry about damaged discs, the rise of digital has also become a tool for corporations to exploit gamers. The problem isn't digital gaming itself. Digital distribution should have been a win for everyone. It cuts out the costs of manufacturing, packaging, and shipping physical copies, allowing developers to sell games directly to consumers. In theory, this should mean cheaper prices and easier access. Instead, corporations have weaponized digital gaming to increase profits at gamers' expense, charging the same or even more for digital versions while stripping away the ownership and freedoms that came with physical games. It's not about improving the gamer's experience anymore, it's about maximizing profit. We are seeing the industry push boundaries in ways that were unimaginable even a decade ago. Games priced at $70 are now the norm, but some companies have gone even further, charging $100 for premium editions that offer perks like early access or exclusive content that used to be standard. Even worse, some corporations like Ubisoft are openly advocating for gamers to accept a future where we no longer own the games we pay for. These practices are designed to condition us to expect less while paying more. This isn't just a minor inconvenience, it's a fundamental shift in how games are sold, played, and experienced. As corporations test how far they can push gamers, we need to recognize what's happening and decide whether we're willing to let it continue. Digital gaming isn't the problem, it's how these companies are using it to manipulate us. This video is about understanding those tactics and discussing what we as gamers can do to push back. Let's dive in. When gaming first started, physical copies weren't just the norm, they were the only option. Cartridges, discs, and other physical media were the sole way to deliver games to players at home, and they became an intrinsic part of gaming culture. But as technology advanced, digital games emerged as a revolutionary alternative. No more scratch discs, lost cartridges, or trips to the store. With digital, players could instantly download a game directly to their console or PC and play without leaving their house. On the surface, it seemed like a no-brainer. Digital offered convenience, accessibility, and the promise of cutting out the middleman. Yet here we are, decades into the digital age, and physical games still exist. Why? Because their existence is tied to a much bigger picture, a symbiotic relationship between video game companies and retail giants like Walmart and Target. These retailers are critical partners for gaming companies, not just for selling physical games, but for promoting consoles, accessories, and the broader gaming ecosystem. Walk into any Walmart or Target and you'll see signage directing you to the video game section. Those advertisements drive traffic to the gaming aisle, but they also help sell other products. On your way to grab a game, you'll pass candy, soda, deodorant, and countless other items strategically placed to catch your eye. It's a win-win for retailers and game developers. Retailers get higher foot traffic and impulse purchases, while gaming companies benefit from prominent shelf space and advertising. This relationship is why physical copies remain so important. If gaming companies decided to go fully digital, those partnerships would suffer. Retailers might pull back their support for consoles and accessories or stop dedicating floor space to gaming entirely. Worse, without physical copies, there would be no incentive for retailers to heavily promote hardware like new consoles, which could significantly hurt launches for companies like Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo. While it's tempting to think of a future where physical media no longer exists, the reality is that the gaming industry still relies heavily on retailers to maintain its ecosystem. For now, physical copies are a necessary evil for corporations that still depend on brick-and-mortar stores. But the reasons for physical games go beyond corporate relationships. For gamers, physical copies represent ownership in a way digital games can't. With a disc or cartridge in hand, you're not at the mercy of a server or a third-party platform. If Steam, Epic Games, or the PlayStation Network went offline tomorrow, you'd still be able to play some of your physical games. This independence is priceless in an era where digital purchases can vanish due to licensing disputes, account bans, or companies shutting down. Physical games also preserve the ability to share or trade with friends. Back in the day, if your friend finished Assassin's Creed 3 and wanted to lend it to you, you could borrow their disc and play without ever paying a dime. That's impossible with digital games, and corporations love it that way. They've eliminated the possibility possibility of secondhand sharing, ensuring that every player has to buy their own copy. Even features like Steam's family sharing, while a step in the right direction, are limited and heavily controlled to protect profits. It's just another example of how the industry has used digital technology to increase control over how games are distributed and played. Digital may be the future, but physical is still very much the present, and it's important to understand why. It's not just nostalgia or tradition keeping physical games alive. It's the carefully maintained balance between gaming companies, retailers, and the gamers themselves. One of the most disturbing trends in gaming today is the deliberate push to eliminate ownership. The gaming industry, led by companies like Ubisoft, is steering us toward a future where we no longer own the games we buy. Instead, they're trying to normalize subscription models and digital-only access, conditioning gamers to accept this anti-consumer shift as inevitable. It's not just inconvenient, it's dangerous for the future of gaming. Let's start with that infamous comment from Ubisoft's director of subscriptions, Philippe Tremblay, who stated that gamers need to get comfortable not owning their games. That's not just an offhanded remark, it's a chilling insight into the mindset of corporations that see games not as a product to be sold, but as a service to be rented. With subscription services like Ubisoft Plus Premium, players pay a monthly fee for access to a library of games, including new releases. But here's the catch. Once you stop paying, you lose access to everything. There's no ownership, no backup, no way to keep playing the games you love. It's a never-ending cycle of payments designed to turn gamers into perpetual revenue streams. What's worse, digital-only ownership already comes with major risks. When you buy a digital game, you're not truly buying it, you're purchasing a license to access it. That license can be revoked at any time for any reason. We've already seen companies like Ubisoft delete inactive accounts, locking players out of games they paid for simply because they didn't log in for a while. Imagine spending hundreds of dollars on games only to lose access because of arbitrary rules set by the publisher. That's not ownership, it's renting with extra steps. What's most infuriating is that this shift is happening by design. Gaming companies know that by slowly chipping away at ownership, they can normalize the idea of paying for access rather than a product. Of course, they try to frame it as progress, a future where games are more convenient, more accessible, and more connected. But in reality, it's about turning every aspect of gaming into a service with no regard for the long-term consequences. If there's one thing that defines the modern gaming industry, it's greed. Digital games should have been a win for both gamers and developers. Cutting out the costs of manufacturing, packaging, and shipping physical copies should have made games more affordable while boosting profit margins. But instead of passing those savings on to consumers, gaming companies have weaponized digital pricing to squeeze every last dollar from us. And they're not just greedy, they're unapologetically greedy. A perfect example is the continuous attempt by the gaming industry to push boundaries to see just how far they can take things before gamers push back. It's not enough to charge $70 for a base game anymore. Now they've introduced premium editions that cost $100 or more, bundling in early access and supposed exclusive content to make it seem like you're getting a better deal. Except you're not. Features like additional quests used to be included in the base game. Now they're being sold as extras, despite adding little to no cost for developers to implement. It's pure manipulation, convincing gamers to pay for something they already should have. Ubisoft is of course leading the charge in this department, pushing the line further with every new release. Their $100 and $130 editions of Star Wars Outlaws include quests that aren't available in the standard version. Let that sink in. They're literally carving out pieces of the game to sell at a higher price. And if that wasn't bad enough, they've doubled down with subscription models like Ubisoft Plus. And here's the thing, they're not satisfied with just doing this once. These companies are using every crisis, real or manufactured, as an excuse to raise prices even further. Look at any other industry, airlines, groceries, gas. They hike prices during tough times, claiming it's necessary, but those prices never come back down. The gaming industry is no different. They'll point to rising development costs or inflation to justify higher prices, but even when those pressures subside, the prices stay high. Why? Because they've already tested the waters and found that gamers are willing to pay. And as long as we keep paying, they'll keep pushing. This greed isn't limited to pricing, it's baked into every decision these companies make. From selling broken games at launch and patching them later to flooding storefronts with microtransactions and season passes. They've turned what used to be a passion-driven industry into a corporate cash grab. And the most infuriating part is that they have no shame about it. They've grown so big and so profitable that they no longer care about the blowback. They know that for every gamer who refuses to buy, there's another who will. The gaming industry is more profitable than the music and film industries combined. Yet instead of celebrating that success by creating better games or respecting their players, these companies have chosen to see just how much they can milk from us. They're not just raising prices, they're testing us, figuring out where the breaking point is. And if we don't push back, they'll keep going until gaming is unrecognizable. Just another subscription service with no ownership, no creativity, and no soul. Gaming doesn't have to be like this, but as long as greed drives the industry, the games we love will continue to suffer. It's up to us as gamers to draw the line. If we don't push back, this is the future of gaming. Endless subscriptions, inflated prices, and a complete lack of ownership. The games we love will become ephemeral, disappearing the moment we stop paying. And once that happens, the creativity and passion that makes gaming special will be replaced by algorithms and spreadsheets, optimized for profit rather than player experience. Ownership isn't just about having a disc or a file, it's about preserving the integrity of gaming itself, and it's worth fighting for. Gaming is at a crossroads. The practices we've discussed, price gouging, eliminating ownership, and exploiting digital convenience are redefining what it means to be a gamer. But this doesn't have to be the future. We have the power to demand better, to push back against corporate greed, and to protect what makes gaming special. Whether it's speaking up, voting with our wallets, or supporting developers who prioritize passion over profits, every action matters. The future of gaming is up to us. Thank you all for watching this deep dive into the differences between digital and physical copies of video games. If you found value in this video, I want to invite you to join the Winner's Circle, a community I'm building to connect with gamers on a deeper level. Starting in 2025, members of the Winner's Circle will get access to higher quality 2K and even 4K streams where I'll showcase the games we love in stunning detail. I'll also be hosting special streams where I react to major gaming events and share my thoughts in real time. I'm working on a lot of stuff for this, but most importantly, my goal is to ensure that the Winner's Circle provides real value to gamers. This isn't just another cash grab. It's a way to create a space where we can have honest discussions, celebrate the games we love, and fight for the gaming industry we deserve. And if you can't join the Winner's Circle, that's okay too. By simply liking, sharing, and subscribing, you're already making a difference. Each like, share, follow, or subscription tells the algorithms that this content matters, helping it reach more gamers like you. Together, we can spread the message and ensure that these issues get the attention they deserve. Thank you all again for watching, and remember, it's only GG when you win.